All right. Ian, actually, this is your topic to lead.
Yep. Terraonion. The lovely people over at Terraonion who do lots of neat FPGA stuff. They did the Super System 3, I think that's what it was called. That's the one that you plug into your PC Engine and it runs Sega CD games, or Sega CD, runs PC Engine CD and card games. They also did the FPGA Sega CD cart, flash cart that can run the Sega CD games off of it. They do real cool shit, and they did I believe they were also the ones who had like the first, at least widely popular, Neo Geo flash cart.
Okay. Oh, they're the first
Could
ones?
be wrong. Oh, I mean, I know they have one that's very popular.
Oh, because they were doing those like 5-6 years ago at first, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were expensive.
So, Terraonion is putting out something called MODE for the Saturn and Dreamcast. MODE stands for Multi-Optical Device Emulator, I think.
They get away with it.
Multi-optical drive emulator.
Multi-optical disc emulator.
So, a drive emulator, disc emulator. Best way to explain this to people who don't know what it is. Best way I can explain it is think of it as a flash cart for your CD-based system. You open up your Dreamcast or your Saturn. You remove the laser lens mechanism. The
whole structure.
These have existed before. Either solder in or with this new one I'll get to in a minute. Plug it in, and it sits where the laser lens was, and there's usually a USB port for like a USB drive or an SD card.
SD card, okay.
And then you can close the lid. And it's neat because the system looks the same. You don't ever have to change any discs. It sits flush.
You still have a disc tray even though you're not using it.
Yeah, they're neat things. This does basically what these do for disc-based systems is replace the need for a flash card. A flash card on, say, an NES, you get an N8 flash card. You put your SD card in with all your ROMs. You fire it up and you play. With one of these, you installed in your system. You drop the SD card in there. You fire up the ROMs and you play. You play the disc images. This one is nice because it's solderless from what I read. It's just plug and play.
Okay.
I believe the original drive emulators, disc emulators that I remember were called Phoebe and Rhea. They were for Saturn and for Dreamcast. I believe you had to solder them in. You can't buy...
Those were separate products?
Yeah, they were separate products. Okay. You can't buy them anymore, I don't believe, and I know that you can't buy them anymore. So this takes those two products, essentially. They're from a different person. They're not Terraonion. But it's taking the need for two of them and turning it into one unit, one SKU. You could technically, if you wanted to, swap them between the two.
We're run down the features? Auto region patching. Loads games from
the feature
regions.
list is pretty great too.
Auto detects the console is plugged into, so no jumpers. So that's cool. So I'm not sure how hard it's going to be to unplug it, open up your Dreamcast, and put it into your Saturn, but you don't have to worry about it.
But it'll know if it's a Saturn or a Dreamcast.
Yes. You can use a SATA 2.5-inch hard drive compatible with exFAT format, which means you can throw a little hard drive in there on top of a micro SD or USB or a thumb drive.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
That's good, right? Let's see. Then 100% compatible with all Saturn Dreamcast games because you're using the hardware.
Compatible with CDI, GDI, burns, all that stuff, all the different ways that things are burned. No soldering required. You can do a list view or cover art view. Supports multiple disc games, so you can do disc swapping if you want to play something like Shenmue. Zero seek times, obviously, because there's no laser. Supports the MPEG card, action replay, etc. Same RAM cart. And
okay.
That's good. And then...
So it's weird because it's like now, okay, it's, like I said, it's like a flash card, but you still need to plug a RAM card in, for some of your games, for example. For like your Fire Pro, you need to get that load up,
So yeah. Anyways, I think this is a very cool product. It's definitely expensive, but a lot of this good electronic stuff.
What does it cost, Ian?
It's 182 pounds, so let's put that at probably about 225.
I'll say 205. Well, I'll look it up for sure.
Okay. So it's expensive, but if it does what it says on its tin, I mean, you get what you pay for, and hobbyist electronics are almost never cheap.
Oh, that's euros, Ian. That's not pounds.
Oh, euros. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So my pound, because originally when you said pounds, I was like, that's a little bit more than euros. It's about $198. Let's just say $200. 180 euros.
Okay, so honestly, putting that closer to 200, that's honestly, I mean, sure, that's expensive just as a $200 item is expensive, but I honestly don't think that's that crazy for something that's plug and play. It can be used for either, especially that has all those options, because I'm not sure that Phoebe and Rhea offered that. As a matter of fact, they may have just been USB. But I could be wrong.
So
I could be wrong.
You had to throw like your 16 gig.
The first
thumb
ones
drive.
I remember seeing like specifically showed USB sticking out, although I'm sure they may have SD card as well.
Okay. All right. I do know that like you can still get the. I couldn't find a Saturn one for sale. A Saturn.
I think Saturn was Phoebe.
But the Amazon, you can buy. We have to do our due diligence on Amazon. There were Dreamcast versions of this available, and they were about half the price of this. Again, I'm not sure what all the features are. I'm trying to bring up Amazon now. For some reason, it's crawling my internet. But I did look up ones. Okay, here we go. So,
it could be. Hopefully, the
Dreamcast.
features are what's making it more expensive and not just a name brand. I mean, flash carts, they do the same thing, but a $100 flash cart and a $200 flash cart can do vastly different things.
So Dreamcast flash drive, you can buy one. The drive simulation board is $126 on Amazon plus shipping. There's one, the Quingya one is $102 on Prime. So there are Dreamcast ones available. We have to let people know there are Dreamcast ones available, but I don't know if they offer all the same things, and they're definitely not both Dreamcast and Saturn.
Sure.
So but if you need to get both, it'll cost you $200.
Yeah.
Should be
As far as I
400 if you want to put them both in both consoles at the same time. How many people are fans of both? That hardcore for both Dreamcast and Saturn? Is there a lot of people think they're both?
A lot of Sega fans. I like both of them.
So you got to buy both because it'll be a pain in the ass to pop it out maybe and pop back in. I don't know.
Yeah. This is also one of those things where you look at it. I mean, you can also say, hey, emulation is free. But you look at, but Saturn emulation is not perfect. And this is a nice in between for people who want to use real hardware on a real TV and don't want to spend the money that is excessive. Saturn collecting is insane, and Dreamcast is not far behind it.
So this could be your way. You say, hey, I want to play some expensive Saturn games. Emulators aren't that great still for a lot of them, and I'll just get this for $200 and I'll be set.
Right.
And just find all these games are on the internet. You can torrent all these games at this point, right? So okay, well check it out. You go to Terraonion.com and you could see if you. That's an interesting name, Terraonion. Now I'm getting hungry. Intermittent fasting there.